have time? Thank you, Chair. Through the Chair, members of council, and those whose drivers and plane owners and stakeholders have taken their whole day to watch the next stage of the evolution of the taxi industry in Ottawa. I've personally been watching this illegal entrant bring both its technology platform and its unlawful practices to Ottawa since October 2014, when they opened for business without even buying a car. Uber entered the marketplace unregulated in one of the most highly regulated businesses in the capital of Canada. While the city would never allow a fleet of hot dog stands to open up in front of the restaurants in Ottawa, Uber has been able to take Ottawa by storm, and the public has voted with their wallets and fingers in submitting over 6,000 responses to council through what was a virtual public consultation. Today, the industry has its chance to speak. I have 3 suggestions and areas of concern today. You, our elected officials, have a huge opportunity to take the KMPG report and staff reports and also to evaluate the unique position of Ottawa industry in relation to other major cities in Canada and all municipalities that are going through in finding a balance in the process of legitimizing the current illegal service and bringing this illegal service into a model that both the city, its representatives, and ultimately the city citizens will be well served by. But make no mistake, you cannot level the playing field when the rules are different for the 2 parties. My 3 suggestions would be: 1, the City IT Committee be tasked to fully study and evaluate the concept of establishing a private city-controlled IP transportation gateway to allow the city, bylaw, and other possible stakeholders to balance the supply of vehicles and demand placed on those vehicles for the for-hire transportation units on the road at any time of the day or night. This supply should not be solely left in the provider's hands. It is a recipe for surge pricing. As we've heard today, it's one of the biggest concerns. If we cannot get the geofence algorithm that Councillor Blais requested earlier today of Mr. Schaefer this morning, then the city should be given the criteria and the triggers that actuate surge pricing. This, to me, is a must-have. The fact that Uber determines the relative supply and demand of the amount of available drivers and location of those drivers relative to the potential riders of the service makes surge pricing a recipe for manipulation by that provider. In my mind, the secrecy of the criteria of the surge pricing algorithm by Uber does not service the public well. It services the profit motives of Uber and not the citizens of Ottawa. This, to me, is a big red flag. And thus why I'm suggesting the city to be a stakeholder in the load balancing of the quantity of possible geographic locations of the current fleet of all for-hire vehicles, not just one class. Imagine in 2017 if we had real-time data at bylaw or city traffic control on how many for-hire units were on the road at any one time, their location, the ability of the city to call either service to increase or reduce the amount of vehicles relative to the need. Toronto's Pearson Airport currently has such a system in place for over 12 years that accomplishes this exact mission: to ensure we have the right mix of all vehicle resources at the right place, at the right time, and at the right price. A city-monitored virtual transportation gateway would help solving these customer-centric challenges. Not Uber, not a dispatcher that may have other motives. I hope the chair of the IT committee will evaluate what Toronto and other cities and airports specifically have done to make sure that taxis are not sitting around idling waiting for rides, or people are not standing around after a concert waiting for a ride home. In my view, this gateway, monitored but not managed by the city, should be looked at as not a license review by the city, but as a huge opportunity to design and revamp an anticipated system that was part of the city's fault in not issuing new licenses in 17 years other than accessible cabs. In that time, the city has grown by over 45%, but yet the license pool of licenses has grown by 0. Thus, this has allowed the scarcity of demand on the concurrent pool of licenses to create an artificial market, and the market value of those licenses has risen substantially. In my view, the city is complicit with the current situation and the current players and new entrants into a model that serves the city of Ottawa with both providers. I suggest a transportation-wide rating system be instituted for all providers, Coventry as well as Uber. This is one of the huge benefits of the Uber service and its rating system. I am sure we can all agree that Mr. Patney would love to have a portal for his customers to rate the cab driver.